Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode. This one is about failure, uh, which is because I should have released this yesterday, and I've done it every Friday, or at least recorded it before, but release it every Friday. I guess it's like a year now, or a bit over, because this is like episode 63, I think. 62? Don't even know. Good, that goes to show you. But and so yeah, I thought how to deal with failure. So first, a little song. Will I think of something to say? Will I be okay? Will my dreams bear fruit, or will I be waiting on the roof while God shakes his fist from the sky? Well, I don't know why you do that, but sometimes it seems like life is full of mysteries. Okay, that's the token song. So, how to deal with failure? I reckon it's like, the whole philosophy, like some cultures it seems, and some people, culture seem like a kind of collective personality, or personality like an individual culture. But some you can like, excellence is a good thing, I think, and some people are more determined to kind of perform at a high level, and I think that's good. Like that's we're all here because of people who were determined to do their best, and the places where the percentage of people who are kind of being lazy got too high, though this tends to be like civilizational collapse sooner or later, and bad things happen. So, and just in general, like people, great musicians, great chefs, great parents. Um, there's like many beautiful things which come from all of this, obviously. But and then so that's better than people who are just despairing or lazy or just they've given up and they don't really try. So for sure that's better. And not part of that is like not liking failure, being unhappy and unsatisfied with failure, and trying to do your best and try to learn from your mistakes. And also to kind of be a bit hard on yourself when you fail, to almost like a deterrent, being like, you know, whereas some people maybe they fail or they do something they shouldn't have, or but so they fail ethically, they don't do what they should do, or they just fail in terms of competence, like they don't do the thing they were trying to achieve. And if I think there's some people who they don't really care much, like, oh yeah, oh well, and they keep failing again and again, and I think that's a kind of like not really a very good thing. So people who it's better to be like, okay, I fail, but at least I get annoyed with myself and I try to take it seriously, and it's so uncomfortable that it forces me to try to improve. However, I think the highest level of dealing with failure is where you actually embrace failure and that you're at peace with it, and it's not like a problem. So you're probably, most unless you're like a Buddha, you're gonna have naturally you're gonna have the momentum of like dissatisfaction with failure. And that's fine. You just let that give you, okay, yeah, got the message, hang up the telephone. And so all right, just within, maybe it takes you a few minutes, maybe it takes you a few seconds, maybe it takes you a few days, or years, but sooner or later you go, all right, I'll accept that. Like, and I think what to do there, basically the reason to do that is because for a successful present and a successful future, you can't get too hung up on the past and like where you failed. You need to be just trying to go, okay, what can I learn from it going forward? Now, if there's nothing else, so go, okay, what can I learn? Think about it. And if you're like, oh, I think there's nothing left here, I've squeezed everything out of it I can. All right, so moving on, and go and just be at complete peace. Like, yeah, perfect. It was good. It's good that that happened. And then now when I'm successful, I'm going to appreciate it more. And I guess, yeah, you can learn things like, oh, okay, and maybe you might have some small relationship which doesn't really matter, and you make a mistake and you learn from that. And then a more important relationship in the future, you won't make that, you'll be less likely to make that mistake when it's, more's at stake. So that could be a good thing. And, I think failure is the road to success. Failure is the other side of the coin of success. Like, sometimes you're inevitably going to fail, because if you're really playing at your limits and trying to grow as a being, then I think inevitably you're going to fail a lot. And there's a guy called Tim Kennedy, this like former Marine, I think, from the US Army, and he's a really interesting guy. But I think he says something like he tries to fail as many times as he can each day. And if he hasn't failed many times, he kind of gets unhappy with himself, because it's like he takes that to mean that he's not really trying hard enough. He's not pushing himself enough. And so, yeah, I think you can take failure as the inevitable, like some things you can just start doing it and you become successful straight away. But it seems like most things that are a bit more challenging, you fail, but slowly fail less intensely. And then you slip into success territory, succeed a bit, and then eventually succeed a lot. But failure is kind of like Michelangelo chipping away at the marble to reveal the perfect form within, and so of like the statue. And so failure is kind of going, no, not that, not that, and then you can kind of figure out, okay, what I should be doing. But you need to keep that in balance. Like I think sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, okay, well, I did that, or that happened and that wasn't so good. I should have done this, or I shouldn't have done that. But hey, that's all right, It's all part of learning, and the main thing is just be here now, be in the moment, and focus on what you can control. If you can't control it, it's your responsibility to just let it go. Like, because that supports the world, and as an ethical action, you should just let it go. You must let it go, really. But you need to. That's only wise. Well, let's say that's not enough. You need that plus responsibility. So I think it's like peace and just acceptance, surrender, just acceptance of, yeah, if I fail, no problem. For that to be healthy, it needs to be coupled with like basically hard work or conscientiousness. So it's like relaxation and conscientiousness together. Like, okay, what should I be doing? And then just do it. Or is there some work to do? All right, do it now. Like, do it as soon as I can. Then I can relax after. I need to, instead of relax now and then I'll do it later. But no, do it now and then you can relax, guilt-free, just, I've already done my work. And, is there someone who's not really doing their work? Okay, I'll try and do as much of it as I can. So being proactive and looking for opportunities to succeed. If you're doing that, then you have this opportunity to just be completely at peace with failure. Like, yeah, failure is my friend. And even if you fail in a pretty catastrophic way, if you were trying your best and yet you still failed, then you can kind of just say, like, all right, well, that's the way that the script is written. And I didn't create my body and my brain. The universe created this. And so it's the universe's, it's a consequence of the universe's actions, and it's not personal. And so I don't have any responsibility there. I'm not responsible for whatever genetics I have, epigenetics, yeah, sure. But, and so you can kind of be at peace with like the way things go. So I'd say that's basically what I wanted to say, dealing with failure. Like, so, the balance of, yeah, work as hard as you can to succeed. But then if you're doing that, then you can also be at complete peace with failure. Yeah, if failure comes, that's totally cool. No problem. That's going to come and it's natural. And understanding that by making friends with peace, with failure, which is part of peace also. So you are making fully friends with peace, but you need to make friends with failure to make friends with peace fully, or to be at peace. But so understanding that by befriending failure and embracing it, on top of working hard, then you unlock a greater potential for success. And so with my thing, it's like, yeah, okay, well, that's the first time that I haven't released it on time, which you might think, so, oh, not a big deal. But it's like, well, yeah, but what, if you let one thing slide, then what else could not be a big deal? But like, oh, I just, you can let things slide if you're not careful. So I think it's good to kind of like just not give yourself the option. Just do it. Just do it. Have things which you, at least some simple things which you're just always consistently doing. It gives you some faith in yourself. Like, yeah, I can do that. And then that can give you determination to build up and do other things, more challenging things. But so yeah, I guess I'll think like, oh, okay, yeah. Or I'm thinking like, cool, maybe let's just make sure it's done earlier, and so it's no problem. I've had a few things going on, so could kind of excuse it if I wanted to be easy on myself. But I think you do need to be a bit careful, because there's the self-critic, which can be exaggerated, but also the self, like, justification can get pretty out of hand too, like the kind of explaining it away and, just being a dependent blob who just is like, oh, well, it's not my fault, the world, society, or I kind of like Jocko Willink's idea of like extreme ownership, like someone else makes a mistake and you go, okay, that's my fault. I take responsibility for that, because I guess I should have communicated more clearly to them what I needed, or I should have noticed that they were unreliable and changed, my plan or whatever. And by doing that, you could be like, what? But that's not fair on yourself. But if you've got the acceptance of yourself, then by thinking that way, you're kind of, instead of just being like, oh, someone else's fault. Okay. What's the implication for me and my actions and improving? Nothing. It's just, okay, it leads nowhere. Whereas by turning in on yourself, you're directing your attention, that energy, at something productive and fruitful. Like, is there any little room for me to be a bit better? And it doesn't really matter if you weren't in fact directly responsible for that mistake, that failure of others. But by telling yourself that you are, and even if like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, it's maybe not totally true, by saying it and just acting as if it's true, acting that out, then you will notice, you'll introduce yourself or be introduced to room for growth and more success. So yeah, all right. I think that's basically the main thing I wanted to say. So if you're someone who's a bit like, oh, nothing really matters, I think like, well, think about, it's not just about you, it's about everyone, and you're one branch on the tree of life. And so the healthier you are, the healthier the tree is. The healthier the tree is, the healthier all the other branches can be. And there's a lot of branches which are almost falling off and kind of, like when a plant's kind of like, oh, it can be saved. It gets a little worse. Yeah, not so sure. Maybe that part of the plant's is doomed, There's a lot of people who are like that. And that's pretty rough. Imagine you being something like, and you've probably been like that at some point in your life, when you know someone who has. And that's not so nice, And you could explain that away as like, oh, nothing really matters. And that's a cute kind of thought, but like, if we're being real, it's like, that's really pretty rough and pretty intense. And I don't think we'd wish that on anyone, at least of all ourselves. And so there's a lot of people who are kind of barely hanging on. And yeah, in the grand scheme of things, everything's perfect and there's probably reincarnation and all that. But still, I think people are really suffering. That's even if it's a dream, a nightmare is genuine suffering. And we can free people from that and have a more beautiful dream and a more beautiful waking reality, if they choose to wake up. But so I think we should help others, like the Bodhisattva thing, try to have compassion and try to help people. And so even if you don't care about yourself, for others, try to succeed. In a nutshell, we could go on longer, but this isn't about success. This is about failure. And so, but yeah, hopefully you do care about your own success and like, yeah, I'm part of the universe. I'm someone else to everyone else, So I think other people should, you know, have beautiful lives. So therefore I think I should have a beautiful life. I'm not so special that I'm the only person who doesn't matter. It's like, no, you're so non-special that you matter, or you're very important. Yeah, you're special and you're not special. But anyway, so I think, yeah, hopefully if you're someone who's like, oh, it doesn't really matter, hopefully you can find some impetus to kind of grow, and, you know, maybe it's not going to come from this podcast, but hopefully there's some sort of something useful for you from this. But like, yeah, and I think just that's kind of like it's a very fertile, delicious opportunity for, you know, to connect to a sense of success and desire and dreaming, being like, we're all going to be dead sooner or later. Let's have a beautiful experience here. And what can my life become, you know? And then whatever that is, then, you know, play the game you want to play, and success is on your own terms. You're playing the game you want to play, you know? Maybe it'd be failure for someone else, but for you, it's what you want. All right, so it's success. So long as it's not hurting someone else, if it's what you want, then that's success in my eyes. If it's what you really want, not what some lower parasitic part of yourself wants. But then on the other hand, if you're someone who's like, you know, really success driven, but maybe you're a bit hard on yourself, which I think is more common, then I think I would invite you to kind of be a bit more gentle with yourself and just realize that, yes, it's better to be kind of I'd say a bit brutal with yourself, but to be supporting the rest of the tree, than to be just kind of like, yeah, I'll just wither and die or whatever, or I'll just, you know what I mean? I'm exaggerating. But however, there's the highest branch, or like the healthiest branches, they are the ones where you're working hard on your dreams, but you're also embracing failure, and all the while kind of mining those experiences for lessons of how can I be better. But you know in advance I'm going to fail, and you're not afraid of it. You're just like, okay, I'll do the best I can. And wherever I fail, that's just food for thought, and that's just kind of that's the seeds of future success. So I have flowers and seeds. Success is the flower, failure is the seed. And yeah, and understanding that is the kind of the balance point to be as successful as you can, I think. So I hope I haven't failed to entertain and or inform you, and I wish you every success, and that's it until next Friday. Enjoy. Best of luck.